welcome back to another F1 video for segment. Happy Wednesday. Now, this is a video I actually did want to do for a minute. I did want to talk about Nyck De Vries. And I am starting to get a tad bit worried because we haven't really seen too many great performances from Nyck this upcoming season. I didn't want to put too much on him because, like I said, this is his first year. Yeah, he did have some experience last season. I think for like Williams at one race, but fortunately this year just hasn't really been the case with AlphaTauri. But the team in general hasn't really been that great. You guys know me. I talked about Yuki Tsunoda with that team, and there's times he could get some points, and shit has gone on, especially the last few races, Monaco and the Spanish GP. But unfortunately, we're specifically here to talk about Nyck. And you guys, let me know you guys thoughts about Nyck. Not try to beat the kid up. We don't do that. We try to encourage. We try to, raise up. Try to make him feel good. But let's just see, man. But on that note, hope you guys are doing good and amazing, doing very, very well on this lovely Wednesday. The Canadian GP is this week, and I am looking forward to that. It should be a good race as always. We should be live for that race. So as always, make sure you guys do join the watch along. It's cool vibes, pretty sweet. And on that note, let's check it out. Shout out to Formula One Live, and let's get started.
Nyck De Vries has had the worst start he could have possibly imagined to his F1 career. What we saw last year in Monza seems like a one-off from the Dutchman. While it's early to judge his career after just 6 races with one of the slowest teams on the grid, De Vries could be out of F1 as soon as the next season because there are many factors piling up against him. Could we see the 28-year-old make an exit from the
28
after desperately trying to get in for a long period of time?
28, dude, hold up. Oh, that's something in my eye. He's 28.
In order for you to understand why
I feel like I knew that, but I always thought he was younger.
And why his existence in Formula 1 in general,
my left eye is going crazy.
We need to take a short trip back to Monza 2022. Now, this was the race that would change De Vries' career, as up until this point, he was the reserve driver for Mercedes and was filling in for the Silver Arrows and their customer companies in the free practice sessions. That was the case in Monza, when De Vries first sat in the Aston Martin of Vettel for FP1 in Monza. But little did he know Albon's
he was sick.
Other plans for De Vries' weekend.
After
suffering from an emergency, Albon had to undergo surgery, and De Vries was given the Williams of the Thai driver for FP3 and for the entire weekend.
Dude, something's in my left eye, but I'm just not gonna
cause additional damage.
I'm just have to just
already at a deadbeat point.
It's crazy.
But after finishing P9 and ahead of his teammate Latifi, who was definitely the worst driver of the season, he has shown what cloth he's made of. Of course, there were some factors that were heavily in his favour, such as 9 drivers taking grid penalties and the entire starting grid being a total mess. But surviving in the mess is what actually brings you a lot of points most of the time, as we've seen throughout history that when you're able to stay out of trouble, you usually get rewarded. Everything started to go up from this point in De Vries' life, as he was testing for Alpine as well, and was even related to a direct seat at Red Bull. From what the Austrian team is seeing right now, as well as Alpine, I think they're more than happy that they've stuck to their initial choices. It's not like De Vries hasn't accomplished anything, quite the contrary. He was able to win the F2 Championship back in 2020 and was the Formula E champion. But even in these 2 categories, there are some question marks about his achievements. For example, in Formula 2, he also competed in 2019, but wasn't able to shine through the dominance of Russell and Norris, so he had to wait for a bit of a less competitive grid in order to pick up his title. On the other hand,
they try to say he couldn't do it when, one of the big boys were in town, Lando and Russell. I mean, you see how Lando and Russell are now, and pretty solid drivers, we can say that. But, Nyck's still in it. Nyck's still in Formula 1, but it happens.
Formula E Championship in 2021 was greatly altered by the artificial factor of fixing up the qualifying order and making the series closer than they should have been. Once this has gone down in history, De Vries saw himself being beaten by his teammate Stoffel van Dorn, which
I was gonna say, ain't that Van Born to Van Dorn something
has
like that?
achieved quite a lot in the single-seater category.
Hey man, I'm starting to.
Slate. I'm not trying to take anything away from De Vries. His debut at Williams was arguably the best thing that the sport has witnessed, but for you to have a car to drive for just one free practice and manage to survive the carnage and beat your teammate, who's been part of the team for 2 full seasons, speaks a lot. But Formula One is a sport that highlights one characteristic of the drivers much more than the others: consistency. And the only consistency that De Vries has had so far in 2023 has been finishing his qualifying session in Q1 and regularly being beaten by his teammate Tsunoda. To be fair, he did manage to out-qualify him in Miami, but the race pace of Tsunoda was much better, and the Japanese driver finished P11. So far, he's the only bearer of the 2 points that AlphaTauri managed to pick up in a very troublesome season. And while he was under immense pressure before the beginning of the
I was thinking he was crying.
Season, it seems like he's found his groove and his peace with the car. Unlike him, De Vries isn't comfortable driving one of the worst cars on the grid.
Yeah,
that can be seen by
the car ain't that great.
During the sprint race in Baku, he clipped his teammate's car, and during the main event, he crashed into a very unusual place and caused a safety car exit. To top that off, his performance in Miami wasn't spectacular either, with him sitting the back of Norris's car on lap 1 and ultimately interfering with the Britain's result. Things have gotten to the extent of Norris publicly commenting about De Vries having to be the driver that the rest of the grid needs to pay more attention to, as there is a high possibility that AlphaTauri signed the new Latifi in their team.
Damn. Oh my god, that's nice. Damn. Dang, hey, you can't, nah, chill, me. I ain't gonna, can't come up with Latifi. You can't come my boy Nick, aka Nyck De Vries. Hopefully not, man. Hopefully, like I say, it's just early struggles, but it hasn't been great though.
Yeah, I mean, he's done that crash a bit lately. Needs to try braking a little bit earlier. So how did De Vries turn into a driver who cannot make it out of Q1 and cannot compete with a teammate who has constant tantrums? After all, he was the fan-designed #1 driver in the team, and at the age of 28, it was evident that he would be the more mature driver and the one that would bring solid points week in and week out. But the age itself did present a huge issue for De Vries, and it may be the thing that kicks him out of the sport. Nyck De Vries has joined Formula One as a full-time driver at the age of 28. I don't even want to talk about what the other drivers have achieved at this age, such as Hamilton, Alonso, and for example, Verstappen is headed right now. Obviously, nobody expected Nyck to be at this level right away, but every other driver that he's racing has started their career at the age of 18 to 20, meaning that they had 8 more years to get accustomed to the sport and everything that comes with it. And to top that off, he has to deliver results in a car that's not functioning, work for a team principal that isn't supportive of the engineers and the entire concept of the car, and leave the team at the end of the year. There is total carnage in the team as we speak, and De Vries may have found himself at the wrong place at the wrong time.
You can say that.
For things to be worse than him, Red Bull may not have time to wait, as there are a lot of other talents that are eagerly smiling at his failures in AlphaTauri.
Lando wants to see Red Bull.
AlphaTauri exists as a team is to provide and groom talent for Red Bull, or more precisely, the senior team.
Right.
And one of the reasons why De Vries was signed by AlphaTauri is the fact that Liam Lawson didn't have the super license points needed, and the FIA didn't make the exception for Colton Herta to be signed by AlphaTauri.
Yeah, that was weird.
Now, both of these factors are fulfilled. If De Vries continues with his current performance, rest assured that he'll have one hell of a season and will be put under immense pressure from his teammates and the general.
He's gotta get right though, man. I agree. He's gotta get right.
Pressure, 2 things can
happen. He has to get right.
He can either become a better driver or just break and give up on the whole thing.
Hopefully not.
I certainly hope the first thing will be the likely outcome of the De Vries situation. What Tsunoda has been doing recently has raised some eyebrows throughout the grid and among the F1 experts. In an environment that makes it extremely hard to thrive, Tsunoda has picked up the pace and hasn't finished the race below P11. Franz Tost hasn't made it easy on De Vries as well, saying that Tsunoda needed to be the driver that makes it regularly to Q3 and takes top 10 finishes. And the young Japanese driver has shown one thing: He used the pressure in a positive way and made himself a more competitive and definitely improved driver. What he's been doing with the car that AlphaTauri is giving him week after week is absolutely abysmal, and it can only mean one thing. De Vries' career could be finished before he even properly started. While it's still too early, Nyck is under a lot of pressure, and it's up to us to wait and see how the season will unfold.
That's
for
Formula
him.
One, though.
So, what do you think will happen?
That's Formula One, man. You gotta come correct. You gotta come with it. But we will see what happens. Hopefully that's not the case. But I also doing shout Mercedes. I think Mercedes is in second place of the constructors over at Alpine. So that's I'm sorry, Aston Martin. But that's shout Mercedes. Like, the last few races they have been doing pretty good. But hopefully Nyck can turn around, man. 28. I'm not surprised that AlphaTauri decides to go with somebody else. There have been rumors of things about Danny Rick potentially taking that spot, but we shall see. We shall see. But on that note, hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. As always, shout out to F1 Live. Don't forget to like the video, sub as well. Take care, stay amazing. Talk to you guys later, man. Peace.